Hello everyone, and welcome to my new Let's Look Out. We're going to be looking at Crystal Rift, which is a grid-based dungeon crawler. I forgot my train of thought there for half a second. It's a dungeon crawler based upon grids that is reminiscent somewhat of an old favorite of mine that I used to play the crap out of when I was a kid, probably hundreds if not thousands of hours. Crap, what was that thing? What was that game's name? It's going to annoy me now. Lands of Lore, that's what it was. Oh my god, so many hours spent on that. Now, as you can see, this is VR compatible, PlayStation VR compatible. And in my opinion, it really adds a lot. You can also play it not in VR if you don't have one. I think it would be a little bit... I don't think it would be as good, but I mean, it's still good if you like the genre. Now, there are different options you can throw in, like the scare factor. I have it on normal. You can turn it, I think, off and like extreme. I chose normal for my difficulty because I didn't want to have a too easy of a time in the first few levels. Excuse me, this is mainly just to show you the gameplay behind it, so if you want to, decide if you want to buy it yourself. I've heard some negative reviews for this game. I don't grasp just why they're so negative. There are some negatives to this game, don't get me wrong. But I've seen like 2-star reviews out of 5. I'm like, what? It's nowhere near that bad unless it like tanks halfway through. But from what I'm seeing, I can't imagine it tanking that badly. It does have puzzles, as you can see. You need to outsmart or you just, well, die. I don't know what falling into a pit does. I didn't really want to go see what it does. I'm imagining it's either a straight game over or you lose a heart. Because if you get hit by an enemy, you lose a heart. If you get hit by a trap, you lose a heart. And I'm presuming when you run out of hearts, the game ends right then and there. So if that holds true, it's somewhat roguelike as well, unless you're playing on easy mode. Which is no shame in that, but I like a little bit of consequences in my dungeon crawling experiences. I also feel virtual reality adds a lot of immersion. Because some of the scares that come up in the first few levels, namely, I think one's coming up rather soon, really couldn't really be conveyed nearly as well without virtual reality. So as you can see, it's, well, you move in a grid. That's why it's called a grid-based, grid-based dungeon crawler. You might feel that's a little constrictive. What about combat? What do you do when you're in combat? Is there combat? Yes, there's combat. And I'm guessing you never played old school games because you had to deal with the same thing except a lot clunkier back then. Also, there's some lore, and some of it can be downright creepy. At one point, you'll notice I really just like start sprinting through the level because I was panicking. Because with VR, it just adds to the immersion so much more. You have no party members. You are all alone in this mess. Yeah, that right there, that scared the bejesus out of me. I don't know how you could convey that without having virtual reality. I was like, is it still up there? I don't want to go under there again. And ever after, I will never go underneath that thing or anything like it without being scared witless. And here's our first battle. And I was trying to figure out how the whole thing works. So yes, it's not turn-based. As you can see, you can just kind of dance around. And I think I got a trophy for like first monster killed or something. It's a welfare trophy. But there are also secret rooms, secret traps that will kill you. At least I presume one of them was secret. I didn't really wander into it because I didn't want to die, but it sometimes is obvious in the secret rooms they do not exist, which is obviously they do exist. Of course, finding them with my level of perception took quite some time. It's actually really not all that difficult when you look at it, but yeah, they exist. Mainly they exist by looking on the walls, and you can, the ones I've seen so far, you look on the walls and you'll see like a stone sticking out more than it should. For some reason, I'm just going to leave all this in because, well, this is my maiden voyage. I had no idea what I was doing, and hell, that's what you're here to watch. Or something. Maybe you're just here to listen to me blather on. I thought, well, maybe this is a secret room. That looks kind of I don't know. It looks kind of fishy, doesn't it? Like the wall just kind of looks... It wasn't it, but the wall looked kind of outliney to me. Now, obviously, you don't have to go looking for secret rooms. Sometimes secret rooms will give you health potions. Sometimes they'll give you, different little power-ups. Normally, it's nothing that'll make or break the game. I thought the puddle on the floor was like, maybe it's poison. Because I grew up in games where stuff like that, you didn't go on it just to see what it was. You just tried to avoid it if at all possible. Of course, I had to walk through the water to get in there in the first place, so I should have gathered as much that it wasn't poison, but... old habits are hard to break. I knew there was something in there, I just didn't know how to get in there, and I eventually was like, there has to be another button somewhere. So I proceeded to go all Doom. I always use that, because in Doom, they didn't give any indication of where's the secret wall in that game. You just had to go up to every wall and just hit space, 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 space. So, that's what I did. Screwed looking and actually figuring it out. We're just gonna brute force it and just kind of do it that way. You're watching my channel. If you expect finesse, you're on the wrong channel. So, as you can see here, you might be wondering, why are you just, like, sitting around? You're not getting anything done. Yeah, well. It's because there's a funny moment. Yeah, that right there. I hate spiders, for one thing. Two, it just, like, ducked into my corner of vision out of nowhere, and the two of them together. I'm imagining if you turn the scare factor up more, you get more things like that. Well, not that thing in particular, most likely, but I eventually said, screw it, I can't find it, we're leaving. Because I'm not sitting here for forever and a day trying to find it. We'll be going through 2 levels today. I think this is qualified as the first level. Like the first dungeon, rather. Obviously, that requires a key. We don't have a key, so we need to find the key. Aha, we have a destination in mind. We need to find a key. At least it's not red, blue, and yellow. Those were the days when you had to find like 3 different keys in a level. Oh man. You don't want to know how long it took me to get through the 3rd level of Doom 1. Hours. Hours. Sometimes to this day, because I don't remember very well. That's the kind of person you're dealing with right now. That's the kind of person. And no, you can't just spawn cheat and go, I'm just gonna hit you. That is one thing I don't like right there. I thought I was like way far enough away so that I wasn't gonna get hit there, like I was a block away. My theory is that I was in the middle of moving, so the game thought I was still like 1 block away when I was actually, it seemed like 2 blocks away. Or maybe they just have really long swords. That is a flaw, though, that I did not like. But, I just kind of took that as, okay, I'm going to need to be a lot more careful in the future and not get anywhere near the front of enemies if I can help it. It's not like there wasn't glitches before, but I mean, that one seemed like in games, but that one seemed like a pretty big one in my eyes. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe that was just a really long sword. It didn't look like a really long sword, but you're wondering, why are you just playing with the door? I'm playing with the door so that I don't get lost. I was like, no, thank you. I'll just not step on the bloody floor. I learned that in Sen's Fortress. Thank you very much. You'll notice the more nervous I get, usually the more I look around. Because I'm like that. Around this point when the music changed, I get really, really antsy. And when you're in VR, it happens really, really, it's a lot easier to be spooked than it is to, versus a flat screen experience. Because everything just feels real when you're wandering through here. If you're wondering what the staircases do, that's the path to the next dungeon level. So it's like a little mini, I don't want to call it a checkpoint. It basically is a checkpoint because the whole 2 things that went down so far have had a save fountain. I don't remember exactly what they look like. A fountain with a piercing gaze of a statue looking at you. Or a statue with piercing gaze, that's the one. Like, it's a scary looking statue. The thing that they put right next to you, it's like a 1,000-yard stare. Yeah, that thing right there. That does like, holy crap, it's Olmec of the Hidden Temple. But no, it's not Olmec, I don't think. There's a reference not a lot of people nowadays will get. You grew up in the 90s, didn't you? Yes. Yeah, it's basically just saying, that's how you save your game. Okay, I guess I'll go and save my game then. Just taking in the sights. Yeah, that does not. I guess that is Medusa. I just noticed the snake hair, but save our game real quick and we'll get going to the second dungeon. The second dungeon is a lot more difficult than the first dungeon, obviously. And I presume every dungeon after that's going to get a little more tricky and a little more difficult with full more death traps. Obviously, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you can die right there. If you just kind of go half-assed through the place. Which is, again, if you're a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls player, you'll fit right in here. Except for the combat. Because the combat's really different. As you saw, I'm just going to back up twice. I screwed with the backing up once. It got me killed. I ain't doing it again. I'll just back up twice. Adaptation. It works. And this is one of those, I don't want to go through the big pool of blood. I have a feeling that's just going to like either kill me or I got to be missing something here. A button I'm not seeing. There's got to be something going on here. Turns out these developers are not nearly as sadistic as the ones in the early 90s. Because in the early 90s, going through that would get you killed. Or, at the very least, poison you or severely damage you. Since you don't have a health bar, you have a life gauge. I was like, okay, worst case, I think I get like 3... I get like 3 hearts left after this. There's nothing here. I think I'm just going to have to try and bite the bullet and just try and walk through the blood. Or whatever that red viscous liquid would be. So, oh, it didn't actually hurt at all. Not sure what the point of it is, but okay then. I guess it's just there to scare you and thinking you can't go that way. And it worked. It worked pretty well, actually. Yeah, that noise is... Oh, God, this. This was another little... Okay, really? Because I timed it apparently just bad enough. I was like... It's on its way up. I should be able to go through it. No, you gotta wait till it's all the way up. And now you go. Another little pet peeve. I understand kind of why they did it. But it just seems like a little bit of a... I think as long as it's not on the downward motion, you should be able to go through it. Maybe if it's like going up, you should like bounce your head off of it like you would if you're trying to walk into a wall maybe or something like that. But they just went with the whole, you're just dead then. All or nothing kind of thing. Again, easy enough to adapt to, just kind of annoying. Unnecessary, one might argue. So what's the point of all this? We're getting another key, except this one is a red key. Well, it's a gem, but for all intents and purposes, it's a key. Don't kid yourself. Oh crap, I promised there wasn't red keys. Is that my character's heartbeat? That loud beep, not beeping. That loud bumping noise? I think it is. That looks like a nice button. A big skull on the button. I was scared as crap to even push that button. I was like, what kind of hell on earth should I prepare for here? Because I'm a gamer trained by years of abuse. Oh yes. You push the button with the skull on it, you're probably gonna die in my experience. This... Do you hear that sound? It's coming this way. This is when I was like, oh god. We have to go. We have to go now. Of course, looking back on it, I don't think it really... mattered all that much. I think that was just lore, but... I was panicking. And that's what the little health potions look like. There are bigger ones, I'm assuming recover more than just the 1 heart. I'm presuming maybe 2. I hope more, but crystals must not be removed. Of course, looking at the door, you need the crystal, so that's obviously a load of bunk. Who likes puzzles? Because you're going to be facing a lot of them if you play this. Mind you, I am terrible with puzzles. So this one I just kind of stumbled around on and eventually found the right way. And eventually you just kind of figure it out. Well, I don't know, I figured it out somehow. I don't know how, but I did. Just make sure you look down so you don't end up falling off into an abyss. I guess it'd be my advice. For the record, if you're wondering how do you open doors and flip switches, it's just X. You use the dual pad, you don't use the move controller. I thought maybe they might utilize the move controller. That'd been kind of cool if they'd utilized the sword with the move controller, but they didn't go that route. I can kind of see why, because it'd be kind of hard to, know when someone's swinging and when they're just moving their hand. Still would have been cool. I think if they... when I was playing, I didn't hear that. Now with the headset on, I heard that. If I'd heard that, I'd been panicking a hell of a lot more. If you didn't hear that, a voice just whispered in your ear, "I see you." And a very loud growl. So, I mean, at this point I'm on rails. I can't do anything but look around, so... If I'd actually been paying attention, looking forward there, you would have saw a flock of bats, or whatever the plural form of that is, going through my face, or around my face. Unfortunately, I wasn't really looking the right direction. Now, looking the right way here, or looking the right way, the music just changed again. Now, I'm hoping, I didn't do it, but I'm hoping if you decide to go back along the rails, maybe go the other direction, which I didn't do, that you can go that way. I just saw a big boulder thing, so I decided I'm gonna go that way. Again, I went through Sen's Fortress. You really think I can't figure this out? Because this is like child's play compared to that, and as it should be, considering this is only the 2nd level. Basically, imagine any and every kind of trap I'm imagining they're going to be throwing at you in this. I hope they introduce a shield at one point, because I can think of numerous times a shield would really come in handy. Obviously, at this point in the game, they don't give you one yet, but I hope they do. Because I can imagine some Zelda style, like throwing some projectiles at you, holding up the shield, reflecting them back, and then just, that'd be pretty awesome. Also, the whole blocking enemy strikes thing would really add to it, but I don't know if they did or not. So I guess I should stop talking about it and getting your hopes up. Oh god, this battle. This battle, after you saw the debacle of the previous one, you might be going, how in the hell do you even do 2 battles or 2 people at once, or fight 2 people at once? I mean, you can do them if you want, but I'm not into necrophilia, but I don't even know how you do a skeleton. I mean, that'd just kind of hurt more than anything. We're getting off topic now, and the way you do it is you just kind of outmaneuver them, because the AI doesn't seem to be the brightest ever. At least not these type of enemies. Hopefully there are more enemies than just skeletons. I think there are. Matter of fact, I know there are, because in the trailer I saw at least 2 or 3 different... I saw a plant, I saw a goo, and I'm assuming there's more than that, but in the first few levels it's mainly just skeleton enemies. In fact, it's pretty much just skeleton. Hey, I found a secret. Bet you didn't expect me to find that. By the way, if you're wondering, yes, you can rotate the skulls around. It's very, very, very slow. If you notice how much it's moving, that's not the game doing it. That's me moving the right stick just the tiniest little bit. You have to do that, I don't know, 20, 30 times before it can move in any meaningful amount. We're skipping that because, honestly, I don't really need the health right now, so it'd be kind of a waste to do that. I figured it might be an enemy somewhere else. I might need the health later. I don't know. But no, that's pretty much it. For this level, anyway. So, as you no doubt witnessed, it's a very niche game. You have to like the genre. If you don't like, grid-based games, grid-based RPG. And I don't know if they qualify this as an RPG. It's like a grid-based action game, basically. If you don't like it, well, you're not gonna like this game. I will say though, my thing I always considered the greatest weakness of grid-based games was always immersion. And with VR, it knocks it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. So I like this game. I don't think it's game of the year or anything near it, but I don't like giving like ratings, but I recommend this game for people who like the genre. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I shall see you next time. Farewell, everyone. Until then.